over 400,000 Ethiopian migrants detained in Saudi Arabia. From the Eastleigh Voice, Kenya, April 11th, 2024. Reports of torture, deaths in custody, and a lack of medical attention have raised concerns among human rights groups like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. Saudi Arabia currently detains over 450,000 Ethiopian migrants, highlighting the dire situation undocumented migrants face in the country. Saudi Arabia hosts about 750,000 Ethiopian migrants, with about 60%, 450,000, likely to have traveled to the country through irregular means. The official process to repatriate approximately 70,000 nationals is expected to commence in the coming weeks, following Saudi Arabia's commitment to supporting the return of thousands of Ethiopians detained there this month. Among the detainees, hundreds are held at the Al-Shumaisi Detention Centre, a facility established to detain individuals who violate residency and labour regulations. Despite its capacity to accommodate 32,000 inmates, the centre currently holds a significant number of Ethiopian migrants. Saudi Arabia hosts around 750,000 Ethiopian migrants, with the majority estimated to have entered irregularly. Despite efforts to deport undocumented migrants, thousands remain detained after serving sentences, pleading for assistance, and enduring dire conditions within the detention centres. Reports of torture, deaths in custody, and a lack of medical attention have raised concerns among human rights groups like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, HRW. In December 2020, the human rights body released a report revealing that deplorable conditions are holding hundreds of migrants in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The detainees, primarily from Ethiopia, but also from other African and Asian countries, are being held pending deportation due to their lack of valid residency permits. According to HRW's investigation, guards using rubber-coated metal rods are torturing and beating the migrants in severely overcrowded rooms. The organization documented at least 3 allegations of deaths in custody between October and November. HRW conducted interviews with 7 Ethiopians under custody and 2 Indians facing deportation, all of whom recounted their confinement in cramped rooms alongside up to 350 others. The report highlights the dire conditions faced by migrants in Saudi Arabia and calls for improved treatment and protections for detainees. Saudi authorities have not taken any concrete action despite repeated calls for investigations.
The parable of the rich fool, found in Luke 12:13-21, is a story Jesus told about the dangers of greed. A rich man has a bountiful crop and decides to build bigger barns to store his surplus grain. He plans to relax, eat, drink, and be merry. But God says to him, "Fool, this night your soul is required of you. And the things you have prepared, whose will they be?" Jesus concludes, "So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God." This parable warns us against greed and encourages us to be rich toward God.